Aloha, everybody.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
Indeed.
Yep.
Yep, it's episode 8, Worldwide Wrestling Podcast, Worldwide Wrestling. Had a pretty long, crazy episode for the SummerSlam reactions, but that's all over and done with. So now we're just gonna be doing our weekly small SmackDown and Raw recaps.
At least for the next 2 weeks, because Backlash is in 2 weeks, I think.
It is, yeah. We'll be doing the Backlash. Talk about that when it comes around. Talk about the matches on that when that become clear, and then do our predictions and stuff, and then afterwards we'll talk about it. So, but yeah, a lot of stuff happened on these 2 episodes, so we got a lot to talk about. And
Just want to dive into it.
Yeah, let's just dive right into it, man. Go right into Monday Night Raw. So as talked about, all day Monday morning, and by us, on the podcast, Monday night, as Finn Balor is hurt, underwent surgery, successful, so that's good.
Yep.
Hopefully he can get back, pretty, back to 100% and back a little bit ahead of schedule, so he's not off.
WWE is billing it as a 6-month, healing process, but people who know about the procedure say 2 to 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So they may be pulling that whole John Cena Superman return stuff.
Yeah.
he may be coming back way earlier than the 6 months, or he may take his time. They may want to give him the 6 months to be like, just calm down, chill out, rest for a little bit, then hit at it. I know it was on I think it was his Twitter page that he posted. He was like, win the title, vacate the title, surgery, and then the next day is day one, getting back at it. And so it's nice to see that from Finn. But yeah, you're right. He had to vacate the title, the red, ugly red.
The championship, because it looks like jam.
Yeah,
love you, King Ross.
Yep. It's growing on me, and I think just because it looked good on Finn's shoulder, it may be okay. I think everybody will stop complaining about the color, but it's still lazy. And we'll get to the other titles as well.
Oh yeah.
SmackDown, but it's sad to see that Finn had to give it up. I hope he does come back sooner than later.
Me too. In 5 months it's the Royal Rumble, so hopefully he'd be back and he can make his debut in there, and then maybe win and then challenge whoever for the Universal title at WrestleMania, and then win it back. That would be awesome.
Yep, and it writes itself. If the WWE would just sit back and be like, this is the situation, this is what's going to happen, the whole thing writes itself. You could still have Finn show up. Like, if Finn has surgery, you could have him show up and do a promo every once in a while. But, they're probably not going to do that.
Yeah. All right, so, he came out, started off with Mick and Stephanie in the ring, and, he came out. They both looked like you said, they looked visibly upset. Like, they really did look like they were just, they felt bad for him, and they felt, like they were in a jam, and, that's that was. But then I saw something that was on WWE's Twitter. It was a video, like 5.5 minutes long, of him talking about winning the title and the fact that now he has to, and he was like kind of tearing up a little and stuff, and it was hard to watch. It was really, really hard because, people are like, it's just wrestling. What's he getting? Well, it's like, this is his job, you guys. Yes. He's been working forever for this, and
he gets the title and he gets hurt.
And he gets hurt, but but he went out and he finished the match, and with that hurt arm, so
like a boss.
Yeah, awesome, and but he'll come back, and I would love to see him win the Royal Rumble, and then maybe beat Seth Rollins, who will be the champion at the time at WrestleMania or something like that. Like, that'd be a great return, kind of thing.
It would be. That's not bad. And like you said, that just seems like the best way to do it. And again, WWE, it writes itself. It'll be back like like Caleb said, he'll be back by Royal Rumble time. Just come on,
Yeah.
pick that up and run with it because it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and even if he just needs like another month or just a couple weeks by the time Royal Rumble is around, have him be like the very, very last person entered, and only have like 1 or 2 people left, and then he just throws one of them out, so he doesn't have to do a lot of strenuous, movement and stuff. But so yeah, he relinquished the title. That was really cool that they let him talk and stuff, and
agreed.
That was great. He got to say thank you to the fans, and they were chanting "You deserve it" and "Thank you, Finn. Thank you, Finn." That was
when he said, "I'm the one who should be thanking you."
Yeah.
It is good to see that a wrestler is, and I know he's supposed to be face, and so this could be part of it, but it's nice to see a wrestler acknowledge that he wouldn't be in this place if it wasn't for the fans. And he's a great great worker, but people love him, and so it is because of the fans that he won. I think it's because of the fans he won the championship myself. But yeah, absolutely, it was a nice kind of farewell for now type thing.
And he was making his way up the ramp. Seth Rollins came out. They kind of had a little stare down.
If you didn't hate Seth the night before, you hated him at this point.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for him to say something, kind of under his breath, sorry Finn or something. I'm sure they've had their conversation backstage.
Yeah.
But his smile, I don't know how you felt, but I wanted to punch him in his face, if not his gonads.
He did a great. Yeah, he's just like, oh, he's so good at being a bad guy. He's just, oh, he's such a jerk. He's just sitting there chewing his gum, comes out, smiling, looks at Finn, just cracks a grin, and then just keeps walking. I was like, oh. I'm sure backstage Seth Rollins felt bad, and because I'm sure he feels partly responsible since it happened in their match. And I'm sure he was like, dude, I'm so sorry and stuff like that. And I'm sure he felt really bad, but and I'm sure he was like, hey, I'm gonna be a jerk because it's who my character is on, and I'm sure Finn knows the business, so he's like, oh, I don't care, sir, but it worked because I wanted to punch him too. I was like, oh, yeah, that was just, that was well done.
It really was.
That was just, oh.
WWE right now is definitely blurring the lines. We already said that in the SummerSlam towards the end of that. Are definitely blurring the lines between real and fake right now. And they're doing it really well.
And that's how wrestling should be.
Agreed.
Yeah,
totally agreed.
Like, that's one thing I hate about, being so self-aware of that it's scripted, is that it's like, it's entertainment. So, like movies, like for whatever reason, when you watch a movie, people don't have to be like, oh, that's fake, right? Or that's scripted, right? It's like, but nobody tells you. But when you watch wrestling, it's like, oh, wrestling, that's fake, right? It's like, it's entertainment. Shut up. I know it's fake. I know it's scripted. Like, I don't need you to tell me that. So it's like, this is just a live action movie. This is like a live performance, a play or something, like kind of thing. And
it's a big soap opera.
Yeah, it's soap opera for guys, like we said in like the first episode.
And they do so well. They do. Everybody in the ring does a great job.
Yeah, and it was like I like wrestling that they do that. It's a little too what do they say, smarky or something like that, where it's everybody's so self-aware that it's just like, well, I mean, you can know that and still enjoy and buy into the stuff because they're playing characters and stuff, so yeah, I like that they're kind of blurring the lines of what's real and not real because it makes it feel more entertaining, and it like when you're a kid and you're watching and you're like, man, why do these guys hate each other so much? When you don't realize it's scripted, you think it's like, but yeah, I agree with that. They are blurring the lines, and I think it's working to the benefit because it's making everything seem bigger, epic, more real, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, and when he comes out to the ring, it's like he keeps saying, Seth is the perfect heel. He really is, because he comes out and he's like, hey, I'm the true winner of SummerSlam. He walks in the ring, gets in the ring. He's like, I'm true winner of SummerSlam, and he's like celebration. We're having this big celebration. I'm here, you're here, the very, very beautiful belt's here. And it's like, that's funny because he's playing off the fans hating the belt design.
Yeah.
He's like, you could just give me the belt, and who comes out?
Sami Zayn came out.
It's like, huh. Everybody that comes out after Sami Zayn, and even Sami Zayn, it's like, so, okay, I can see Sami Zayn working for a title, but maybe not this one.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see him.
Yeah, maybe not this one. Yeah,
win this one. But it's just like, okay, Chris Jericho, I understand. Kevin Owens, I understand. Cass?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I understand because he's a big dude, but really?
Mm-hmm.
And then Roman Reigns at the end. What do you think about everybody yourself?
Everybody? I think about that. Yeah, I thought it was cool that, Seth is just like, oh, why don't you just give me the title, guys? Come on. And they were just kind of like, well, I don't know. And then everybody was just like, kind of had the sense of like, all right, this is my time kind of thing. And everybody was like, I'm going to prove, what I got kind of thing. And, Enzo and Cass coming out, that was really puzzling to me. I didn't really, because it's like, they should be going after the tag team titles. Like,
they should be.
It was weird. It just seemed odd. And I love Enzo and Cass, but it was just weird. Like, and that it was just Cass, and Enzo was just his like manager, but he was in the ring, and then it's like everybody in this ring deserves a title, and then later on it's not Enzo, it's Cass with Enzo, and then Rusev all of a sudden is gonna vie for this title too.
Rusev,
but even though he wasn't in the ring.
And Neville.
Rusev and Neville, yeah.
But
Neville too.
The commentators did say, there's a couple new people, but it was after, I think it was after Neville came into the ring. It was like, huh? Yeah, it made no sense because there was enough people in the ring to do it, even if Enzo had to wrestle by himself. But for some reason,
I don't know. But I liked Jericho, and I liked KO, and I liked Roman coming out, and but Sami Zayn coming out first, I loved.
I did too.
Because he's the underdog. He's the underdog of the underground, and he's the he just seems like the guy who's just like, any chance I get, I'm gonna come out and try to get the title. I don't care what anybody says, because I'm sure most people thought it would be Roman or KO to come out first or something like that, but. But yeah, I dug that, and they said that they're gonna have a tournament to crown
sort of
the new champion of thing.
They started they put it together that night, like on Monday, and then they were like, oh well, it's gonna be a fatal 4-way. Okay, so it's not really a tournament. It's just you fight him, and then the winner of these 4 matches.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Tournament per se.
Yeah, it's several matches culminating in a fatal 4-way.
Yeah. And so it's really not a tournament, but I mean, we'll get to what happens at the end.
Yeah.
The individuals who get to the fatal 4-way intrigue
me. Me too. So I can't wait to get to that.
My favorite part, actually, one of my favorite parts about the in-ring stuff is when all these people come out and Seth is just standing against the ropes, just like, seriously?
Yeah.
Thing. His face was funny to me. Anyway, that was the last thing I wanted to say about that.
That was good. I liked that. But yeah. So the first match of this not tournament thing.
They went gutsy, in my opinion.
Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn.
They went gutsy because what happens towards the beginning of the match? One, they set up for the powerbomb spot again, and they stopped it. It was like, oh, come on, WWE. You're playing with our emotions.
What he like countered it? Didn't he like started punching him or something?
Like they were playing. WWE was playing with our emotions with this. It's like you just injured Finn Balor with this move. Don't injure
Sami Zayn. Yeah.
But what happens later? Sami Zayn, quote unquote, gets hurt, and he sold that sucker. Because I thought he was hurt.
I thought he was legitimately hurt too. Because he kind of, when he landed, he did kind of pivoted out a little, so it would look believable. And I totally I had to, during the match, I was like, okay, I need to Google this, make sure he is okay, because I don't want him to be hurt now too, man. I was like, I can't be mad at Seth Rollins for this one though.
Yeah, you can't. Because I was even trying. How am I going to be mad at him for doing this?
Yeah, but yeah, thankfully he wasn't hurt. It was just
Man, did he look hurt. Again,
he
you're
did.
blurring the lines, WWE. Playing with my emotions. Stop
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. He did a good job fake rolling it and then selling that his ankle was hurt. And then when he tried to do the haluva kick and he was like hobbling and stuff, like that was. Yeah, that was.
Well
Oof.
done, Sammy. Well done.
That was great, man. I was hoping he would win just because I thought that would be the ultimate, like, to make Seth look even, because I'm sure he would have, like, gone crazy and, like, killed Sammy, basically.
Yeah.
He would have done something, like, it would have just made him look like an even bigger heel, and also it would have been funny to see he's like, oh, yeah, why don't you just give me the title? It's like, no, we're going to have these matches to determine who's going to be in the Fatal 4-Way. And then he loses in the first round. That kind of would have.
That'd be funny.
But you need a big-time heel
Yep.
to compete in it, so.
And he is the big, well, he and another one, but he is the biggest heel of them all.
He is.
There was a couple
good match.
really cool spots in this. The Sunset Powerbomb.
Yeah.
Was really, really awesome.
That was.
Again, he was a great seller. The ankle lock, again, once he put on the ankle lock, I realized that it was probably a fake injury.
Yeah, me too.
Still, my emotions, I was all in for Rollins. I wanted to kill him.
I know. I was just like, wow. I was like, either they pulled a fast one on us and Sammy's really not hurt, or Seth is just a huge douche.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it was good.
Yep.
It was a good match. I liked it a lot. And then I actually liked this second one better. It was Kevin Owens versus Neville.
I agree.
I think I liked this one just a little bit better.
You know why?
Why?
Because Neville's awesome. This dude, 450 splash on KO on the outside, like from the outside of the ring onto him. That would have killed both of their ribs. I mean, that should have injured them quite honestly. Neville is just so fluid in the ring.
He is.
I hope they put him in with the cruiserweights. I'm assuming they would.
Yeah.
I hope they give him the cruiserweight championship, not right away, but make it one of their first priorities when they come into the league. This match was unbelievable. What did you think about it?
I liked it a lot too. I thought it was good. Like you and me keep saying, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn can do no wrong.
That's true. They can't.
And Kevin Owens is just a lot of fun to watch, and Neville, yeah, I can't say anything more that you didn't already say. He's great, and this match was a lot of fun. I just really enjoyed it, and I thought they both did a great job. And Neville, it just seems like you said, he is very fluid. He just flawlessly does all this stuff, and he's so good at it.
No matter what he did 2 German suplexes that were just pretty.
Yeah,
they were pretty. Like I've seen in the CWC, there's a couple guys who do a really good German suplex. Neville's German suplex rivals that. I mean, he could go. I could watch him do German suplexes all day. Forget Lesnar. He needs to stop doing it.
Yeah.
Neville had 2 great German suplex spots, and then KO to finish it, torture rack into a kind of a super neck breaker type.
I liked that move. That was really cool.
Yeah, and so KO wins this match. It was a very, very good match. It might even be probably my favorite match of the night, mostly because I love both of these guys. They've wrestled together for a while, and like I said, Neville's amazing. And so now we get set up. We have Seth and KO in the Fatal 4-Way, and now what'd you think of Gallows and Anderson crashing the New Day's party? Because I don't think I got to see that.
You didn't get to see it.
Nor did I get to see the Big E versus Carl Anderson.
Yeah, the match itself wasn't that special. It was just, it was just okay. It was just a match.
Okay.
But yeah, it was, they came out, traded barbs with one another, the 2 groups, and, they were saying that since they won, but they won by DQ, they deserved a rematch for the titles. So I hope that happens sometime. I hope, Clash of Champions is 2 weeks after Backlash, so hopefully it'll, at least I think it is.
It should.
I'm pretty sure it's 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks we get a pay-per-view. That's crazy.
I know. Hey, more wrestling.
Yeah, more wrestling. That's good for us.
It is, because they can do more on each pay-per-view.
They could.
And so, yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen with this feud, with this rivalry now because I just don't want it to just be over kind of like that because I really didn't. It was kind of anticlimactic. I don't think it's over.
I hope not, because like we said in the Summer Slam video we did, was that it was just a bad match, and so I hope that's just a setup to a longer feud that ultimately, hopefully, Gal Anderson, as some people have called him, they come away with the titles. I don't know why they're extending New Day's run,
Yeah.
just for fun or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get new champions in there. Let's revitalize the tag team championship in both Raw and SmackDown, which SmackDown they're doing. So anyway.
All right, so had another chapter in the odd book that is Titus O'Neil versus Darren Young.
I didn't get to see this one either. So
yeah.
What happened?
Basically, Titus O'Neil came out to the ring, was cutting a promo, saying how that Darren Young was like weighing him down. That's why there's no primetime players anymore and stuff like that. Basically, establishing himself that he is a full-on heel now in this, and he didn't do a bad job. He was acting like a jerk. Stupid thing. Computer. Yeah, he did a good job bringing a lot of heel heat toward himself. I'm starting to see a lot more potential in this feud now.
Okay.
I really, really am, and so I'm really interested to see where they're going to go with it next. And he started calling out Darren Young. He's like, Darren Young, get out here, and then they all started chanting, "We want Slater, we want Slater." And
that New York crowd wanted Slater, and I think I heard somebody said that they wanted CM Punk a couple times at SummerSlam too.
Yeah.
Me too. He's Slater every chance they get.
Yeah.
Anyway, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And then he just goes, "I don't care who y'all want. I want Darren Young right now," and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh, cool. Yeah, play off the crowd. That's nice." And then Bob Backlund came out. They had a little tussle, and then Darren Young came out and he laid out Darren Young. And so, yeah, this feud is beginning to take shape now after weeks and weeks of being very puzzling and enigmatic.
Gotcha.
So it seems like it's starting to kind of take shape, and it seems like they're starting to find their footing with it. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see what happens next with it, because it doesn't seem so forced and awkward anymore. It seems, a bit more focused. Sense. Yeah. So that was all that happened with it. Not too terribly much, but then we had the next match in the tournament. Big Cass and Rusev. What were your thoughts?
It was a kind of a, not paid my numbers, but it was a relatively okay match. It did what it was supposed to do. It shows Rusev as a hurting victim, which I think he plays really well. Well doing.
And it's kind of funny.
It is kind of funny, especially when Cass didn't go after him. He just was like, he was counting with the ref.
Yeah.
And he was like, bye bye. It was a fun, clever, gimmicky kind of match, but I thought it worked.
Yeah.
Mostly because both of those guys are really, really talented at what they do.
Yeah, and I also thought that it was. People are like, "Why are you making Rusev look weak? Come on, you shouldn't be doing that." And and why did the match end like this? Here's my thought of why it ended like that.
Okay.
And Rusev wasn't gonna make the count. He wasn't gonna beat. So then he just started walking away, and I think it is because he's going to try to ruin Roman Reigns' chance.
Oh, I hope so. I hope you're right.
So he's like, all right, I'm not going to be able to get into this. So, I'm not going to be able to beat the count. I can't beat this guy. I'm hurt. But I can ruin Roman Reigns' chances of winning that title. That's what I took away from it. That's what I think is going to happen.
And I hope you're right, because I've kept thinking, because there's rumors that they want Roman to be the champion, since Finn can't be. And so I hope that's what happens, that Rusev starts to get better and is so angry at Roman that he's like, you're not going to have my title, and you're not going to have this title because I hate you so much because of what you said and what you've done to me. That would make sense. But what happens with WWE making sense?
Hardly ever.
Never happens, ever. But yeah, that's a good point. I totally like that. and I would love for that to happen. I liked the ending of this match. I thought it was perfect, and it's interesting because it adds Cass to this title. We have Seth, KO, and Cass, which is already interesting to me.
Yeah.
If they just went those three, it'd be really, really interesting. But anyway, we'll go on to the next.
So did you see Jericho's promo?
Yep.
About that? I loved that. I thought that was funny.
What's up, Philster?
Yeah. What's up, Philster? Let me tell you something, Felipe, or whatever he says.
Yeah,
like,
just playing off the name Phil now.
Yeah.
Phil.
I thought that was
Felipe.
funny. And then the way they were kind of like, oh, well, Kevin, I think you mean when I win the Universal title.
Yeah.
But hey, I got your back. Oh, Chris, I think you mean when I win the Universal title. But hey, it's okay because I got your back too.
Yeah. And I like when KO was talking about the title, and he's like, I was the world champ, and now I'm gonna get to be the universe
the
champion of the universe, and that's big.
That was funny.
It's you can't do wrong with these guys.
Don't split them up yet. Please don't. These guys are so much fun together. I just love. Yeah, I was champ of the world. Now I can be champ of the universe. But we forgot to talk about this on the SummerSlam video just real quick. After they won the match against Enzo and Cass at SummerSlam, when they were going back up the ramp and they were on the stage, and they were like hugging each other, and Kevin Owens was just like, "I love you, Chris," and then Jericho was just, "I love you too, man." That was so funny. Like these guys are great, man.
And I love after the promo, KO takes the pocket square. Because he keeps taking the pocket square, and that's funny. And I think it would be funny if he just keeps taking the pocket square and makes something out of it, or does something funny.
Make a scarf like Jericho.
Yeah, exactly. And just,
oh, this is my scarf.
Exactly.
Do you like it? Do you like it, Phil?
That would be hilarious. But we're not riding for WWE. We should be, but we're not.
Yeah, we should be. All right. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that because it was amazing.
Yeah, the end of. Chris, I love you too.
Yeah. I love you, Chris. Oh, so Charlotte had a pretty nasty promo.
Scathing.
Yeah, very.
My
scathing.
my favorite part was when Dana Brooke starts the "You deserve it" chant.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of the
That was
thing.
nice. I like
You
that.
deserve it.
But nobody else was doing it.
And so
yeah, that was a good part.
I
Yeah.
just died. I think that's the fun thing about Dana is she's trying to be funny. I think people are hating on her for no really good reason. She's not the greatest in work, as we see in the match that happens.
Yeah.
But she's trying, and
she is.
That I appreciate.
And she's, relatively new to wrestling.
Yeah, she really is.
So.
But yeah, it was. Again, Charlotte can talk on the mic all day and make us hate her so much.
Mm-hmm.
She does such a great job. And I don't
they should do an on-screen romance with her and Seth. Like, seriously, they're like the power couple of WWE.
That would be
and
awesome.
stuff like that, bow down before us, WWE, or whatever. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
That'd be kind of neat, I think that'd be kind of crazy. But yeah, it was a good...
It's a very good promo.
Good promo. She's great on the stick, man. She's great.
And then Mick comes out and congratulates her.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's like, when Sasha gets back, there will be a rematch for the title. And so that was nice to hear as well.
Yeah, I'm glad.
But then he says something. He says, "I signed the hottest free agent of the new era."
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch NXT TakeOver 2, Brooklyn 2, you notice that everybody was saying goodbye to this single person.
Mm-hmm.
Who comes out?
Bayley!
We're fangirling over here.
With her wacky waving, flailing arm inflatable tube, man.
That's right. Oh, man. It's awesome. Bayley's finally here. And I loved what Charlotte said to her about being, you were left behind. Like, Charlotte was saying these words to her, and I was just like, yes.
Mm-hmm.
You are saying everything that we think about Bayley. When everybody else was called up and Bayley was the last person from that kind of class left, it's like, when is she going to be called up? And the perfect timing, because Sasha's going away, and now Bayley gets to come on the scene and be what Sasha should be right now. It was awesome. I was super stoked to see Bayley.
Me too.
and then she gets the "You Deserve It" chance,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of a cool thing. What else? Anything else that you have about that?
No, like I just thought. Oh, I did like how she was like, Mick, thank you so much. Could we seal it with a hug? And he's like, what? Right now in front of all of these people? Like
Yeah.
being goofy. Like that was. And then it's just like, and then they just hugged each other, and it's just like, wow, the two most like huggable people ever sharing a hug. Yay! Like
Yeah, it brightened my day.
it did. It was good. It was just like, man, Finn's hurt, Sasha's hurt, and then Bailey comes out.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It's a bright point of everything. And then they had the match, Bailey versus Dana Brooke, because Charlotte's not going to. I'm
Yeah.
not dressed for a match, but I've had Dana Brooke, my protege, always be prepared.
Dana's face, her reaction when Charlotte said that was hilarious to me.
It was.
The way she was just kind of like had that like worried look on her face and was like doing like the
Yeah.
like just looking
The
back and forth. Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like South Park, like Cartman just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that was funny. And then the match was just kind of
Yeah.
just because like we just kind of said, like Dana is a little green, but Bailey had some good moments and stuff in it, and
Not bad. It was just it was a no frills basic. Welcome to WWE.
Yeah.
To the main roster, Bailey. Here's your first win over Dana Brooke.
yeah,
Who cares about Dana Brooke? I mean, I like Dana Brooke, but as on the scale of
yeah.
wrestlers, she's not the greatest.
So, yeah, good stuff. But then Sheamus had a promo taunting New York.
Which I didn't get to see.
Yeah, taunted New York and all their sports teams.
That's funny.
And that was funny, but basically pointless. And then Braun Strowman had another squash match.
Which I obviously didn't see.
Which you didn't see either. Yeah,
No.
just another squash match, nothing much. Like I keep saying, I think it's just a stall tactic till they figure out something to do with him.
Yeah.
And stuff with the two last things on here. One of them's big, one of them is huge.
Mm-hmm.
This one was huge. The Dudley Boys saying goodbye. Are they really, really gone? Is this a work?
Oh, I don't know.
Were they is this a storyline thing where they're saying goodbye and then the Shining Stars and then Gallows and Anderson come out and ruin it and they're like, all right, we're not leaving, we're taking care of you punks or something. Like, I don't know, because they didn't.
They walked away and they waved. I don't know if that was shown on this or if I had watched it on WWE or on YouTube, but they walked away and they waved, and it seems as though this is the actual ending of the Dudley Boys. And then bringing up, I don't know why they brought out the Shining Stars. It was funny. I liked what the Shining Stars did. I thought that was hilarious. We got 2 tickets for you guys to go to, and then they're like, you should try the food. Oh, the food. You should try the whatever. Oh, and you should try the women. Not the women. You the food. That was funny. I liked what they did. And then, I mean, obviously they're a small tag team that nobody really cares about right now, and so they squash them. But then the club comes out, kind of makes their dominance known. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could be a work, or it could just be maybe they are gone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a way of sending them away. But
yeah,
I was sad because if this is the case, this is an end to an era, which I'm sad about because they were so good in ECW, so good.
Mm-hmm.
In the early days of WWE, probably the best matches of all time with Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian. So. It's sad to see them go if they are good.
Yeah. It was kind of a little, oh man, like,
yeah.
I was really kind of just like, this stinks, but yeah, it was the club coming out and stuff like that. I thought that was really weird. I didn't, because it's like, okay, so is this setting up a storyline? Like, oh, we're not leaving yet, we're taking care of these punks, or is it like, oh no, they are leaving, but the club, they wanted to make the club look tough. They wanted them to look like big bad guys or something. So I don't know, but
we'll find out. I mean, I think they're gone, but we'll find out in the coming weeks of what happens.
Yeah, like I know in on What Culture, King Ross's WTF moments from Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that yet?
I did, but I don't know what you're talking
about. He talked about that the Dudley Boys just signed contracts like several months ago with WWE. So I don't know what's up with that. So I don't know. So yeah, so I don't know how that plays into this, or what, but
I guess we'll find out if it does.
I guess we'll find out next week on Raw. But so then we go to the main event match, the last match in the kind of tournament.
Yeah, the kind of sort of tournament.
Yeah, it was Roman Reigns and Chris Jericho. I was really anxious to see this because I got Roman Reigns, who's a really good wrestler, despite what the crowd is yelling.
Yep.
You know, that's another thing I loved about King Ross in the WWTF moments.
Yes.
He was just like, Roman Reigns is getting you can't wrestle chance. Yes, he can. And I was just like, right on, dude. And then
agreed.
on Talk is Jericho, Chris's podcast, he said he had Finn Balor on. It was like a couple nights before SummerSlam. It was a really good episode. And, you know, he asked Finn, he's like, you know, who are you most looking forward to working with? And he goes, oh, obviously, you know, the big three guys. You know, I'm really excited to work with Seth, Roman, and Dean. And the fact that in my very first night on the main roster, I had a match against Roman was awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, he goes, and, you know, it really, really bothers me that people are always, you know, booing him and shouting, you can't wrestle, you can't wrestle. And then Jericho, too, was like, yeah, me too. Like, I don't get it. Like, he never has a bad match. He goes in, he does his thing. Like, I never feel like I'm out of sync, or I never feel like we're having a bad match or anything's going wrong with him. Like, it feels, you know, I always feel like I'm going to have a great match when I'm in the ring with him. And, you know, to hear those two guys, you know, longtime veterans talk about that Roman is a great wrestler and that they loved working with him and stuff, like, you know, it's just more proof that people are dumb.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I think part of it is people are not only dumb, but they're sheep. And so because every night he gets booed, it's just something to do.
Yeah.
You know, and let's boo. We're here watching Roman. We might as well boo him, which is ridiculous because like both King Ross, who I highly adore, and Jericho and Finn say he can wrestle. He's one of those wrestlers that I could watch in the ring and not feel bored.
Yeah.
Because I know he's got his certain movesets, but he doesn't. It's not paint by numbers with him. It's not. Every match, he wrestles the type of person. He wrestles the type of match that person wrestles. Kind of like AJ, but AJ does it better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, every match Roman wrestles is a little different in ways that other people who might wrestle are not. And so, yeah, I appreciate those comments because Roman is a good wrestler. He may not be great on the mic. He's getting better.
He is getting better. Yeah.
I think he must be taking the time to work on it. But yeah, he doesn't deserve these boos. But yeah, the Roman versus Jericho match. What did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. You know, the Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and then the Kevin Owens and Neville. You know, I feel like it was just as good as those. I think, you know, the Kevin Owens and Neville one was probably my favorite, but this one was good. You know, I love the young gun, the tough guy, you know, the big strong guy going up against like the old crafty veteran. You know, it's believable that Roman wouldn't be able to wouldn't just go in and just dominate him, because, you know, he's been around the block. He knows what to do. He knows all the tricks, stuff like that. Like, you know, the ref was trying to push Roman away and the ref couldn't see, so Jericho like raked his eyes, you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, Hogan used to do that when he was a bad guy, and you know, Ric Flair, gosh, completely blanked. Ric Flair, you know, he always did that when he was a heel. He would rake people's eyes or poke them in the eye or stuff like that. So, I was not bored by it.
It was a good match.
It was good. I liked, had some good spots in it. I loved when Jericho went for the code breaker and Roman just caught him.
Yep.
And then just did the set out power bomb. That was cool.
And then KO comes out to help. A lot later than Jericho did in the match, but still came out and helped him. And one of the spots that they did was the when Kevin Owens super kicks Roman into the code breaker. That was cool. There were some cool moments like that. I can't read my writing. But the rest of it, I mean, it was a good match.
Yeah, Roman was.
From beginning to end.
I thought Roman did a good job of selling the code breaker.
Yeah.
The way he kind of did like Rock or Scott Hall would sell the stunner.
Yes.
The way they would kind of it would have a whiplash effect to him. The way he kind of did that, where he just lurched back really quick and then fell on his back. Like,
He sells those moves really well.
He
That's
does.
the one thing I did notice, that, at least from when I'm watching him in other matches, even DDTs and stuff, he sells well.
Yeah, and what was the other thing? I loved it when he was on the ground and Jericho was like smacking him in the back of the head,
Yeah.
and then Roman just stands up and starts smacking him in the face and stuff. Like I thought that was kind of funny. And then I think right after that is where he did the schoolboy and tried to,
Yep.
and then he rolled out of it and then did the spear.
Yeah, that setup to the spear was great.
I liked it too. I thought it was good. But yeah, it seemed to, since it was the last match and since it's to set up the Fatal 4-Way, it seemed kind of epic and stuff like that. Since it was the last one, all these matches kind of seemed like pretty that they meant something. Yeah.
And so now we get the Fatal 4-Way for next week. We get Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Big Cass, and Roman Reigns. And I read that on paper, and I see that on paper, and I'm thinking, man, this sounds like a good card. It sounds like a good match. I don't know who they're going to give it to. Like you said, Seth would make sense. The rumors are Roman. It doesn't make sense what you said about Rusev and Roman. Like Rusev coming out and just getting Roman out of the match. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Kevin Owens or Cass pulling out. It would be cool if Cass pulled it out. But
yeah, that'd be
neither
really
of those guys would probably win it. So it's either Seth or Roman in this case, unless WWE goes nuts and decides to promote somebody else, and they decide to split up Cass and Enzo or something, or make I could see Enzo entering the CWC when it comes in September. I don't know. What do you think? Who do you think is going to come away the winner?
Honestly, I think it'll be Seth. I know a lot of people were saying Roman seems like the favorite, and they're like, oh, since he beat Jericho, and since their match went on last, and since Finn, the next top babyface, had to give it up. It's like, oh, well, we don't want to give it to Seth for a long time. Because if he had it, he probably would have it for quite a while, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
And so I can see them being like, well, we don't want to, a lot of people thinking like, oh, well, you don't want to give it to Seth because then you don't want people to hate it, and kind of, because I'm sure he would gloat about, even though, yeah, it's scripted, but still it would get people annoyed and stuff like that. And unless you do want to do that and make him look like an even bigger heel, like, but
I guess.
So I can understand people not wanting Seth to it, but all the stuff that I just said about it would make him look like a bigger heel. I could see them doing that, and so yeah, I know a lot of people, include myself, would want to see Roman, but yeah, I think it'll be Seth, just because I feel like the feud with Roman and Rusev isn't done.
I hope it's not done, and I hope, like I said, I hope you're right.
Yeah, that Roman is like setting up Rollins for a spear, and then Rusev comes out and pommels him or something.
Gets him out of the match, because that's the only way that. Because I'm assuming there's not going to be any disqualification for this kind of thing, and so Rusev is just going to have to get Roman to take him backstage. Is essentially what's going to have to happen, and then I could see Kevin Owens or Seth letting Kevin Owens and Cass go at it for a while and just sitting there. That would be kind of funny too.
That would be funny, but yeah. So yeah, what about you? Who do you think's gonna win it?
It makes sense that Seth wins. This is WWE, and so they will probably decide. You know what? The stuff between Rusev and Roman are gonna it's done and over with, which doesn't make sense because Rusev is still doing the whole my ribs, I can't wrestle thing. It would make sense that Seth wins, but WWE sensibility is that Roman will probably win.
Yeah, and I think that Roman is more over with the crowd. I think it was just that crowd in Brooklyn.
Must have been.
They're nasty, New Yorkers. They're skeevy Brooklynites.
That's right.
So, you heard me, Brooklyn. What's up? So, I mean, because he was getting cheered on all the Raws before, so.
With the Rusev stuff, he was,
Yeah, so I feel like it was just that crowd in Brooklyn. But yeah, I would make sure he's a little more over before putting the Universal title on him if
I
if you
agree.
want to.
I think he's more set for the United States Championship. It brings credence to it.
Yeah.
If Roman was to go for it, and so.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could see him. Yeah, like I said, I could see Rusev taking him out of the match, just like coming, you know, coming down to the ring and just like, beating him with a chair or something like that, so he can't, finish the match, and they have to take him out. And so he's like, you know what? We're gonna end this. I'm taking that title of yours. I'm gonna take your pride. I'm gonna take your ego. He's like, that title, is mine now because you just couldn't let things go or whatever. Something kind of like that. And so yeah, I'd prefer to see that too. But yeah, we'll see what happens next week on Raw. Can't wait to find out and whatnot.
So that comes to, we're done with Raw talking about it. Now we come to SmackDown, and to what I thought was one of the funniest openers ever, the AJ Styles gloating at Dolph Ziggler. What did you think of the open?
First off, I thought that for the second week in a row, SmackDown was better than Raw.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But yeah, I loved AJ Styles coming in and gloating about beating the face that runs this place, and he put on John Cena's headband.
It wasn't a headband. It's his armband.
The armband
on his head.
actually, there's a funny video where The Rock and John Cena are like teaming up in the ring to like beat up Big Show and Kane.
Mm.
And Rock doesn't have an elbow pad, so he can't take it off to do the people's elbow.
Mm-hmm.
And so he yells to Cena. He's like, "Hey, give me that armband." So Cena takes it off and throws it. Rock puts it on, and it doesn't quite fit him. And he just goes, "Cena, dude, your arms are way too big." And it's like, because there's like an inch of give in it on Rock's arms, and he's just like, "This is a headband, isn't it?" And then John Cena just laughs and stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, I loved that he said, "Yeah, check it out. I took this from the ring." And he puts the armband on his head, and
I'm the face that runs this place.
that was very funny. Oh gosh, like it's so funny to see him in interviews being this really, really nice guy, but on screen he's just this total like jerk. But you still like him.
Yes.
You still love everything about him.
Jerk.
Yeah. And then picking on Dolph Ziggler and invoking the wrath of Zigglepiggle.
Yeah.
He's just like, I don't like losers. And then like, that was pretty good at yourself.
It was.
But and then Ziggler just starts pummeling him and stuff. Like, that was a pretty crazy way to end it. I like, to begin it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great opening, and so that was awesome. I loved that. And now we come to the what we've all kind of heard rumors about was going to happen. We see Shane O'Mac and Daniel Bryan introduce new championships. What do you think about the championships, and what do you think about the tournaments that are going to be at Backlash?
Okay, I like the way the championships look.
Yeah.
They looked really cool.
They look old school. Like the tag teams,
Yeah.
First thing I noticed was like, man, I know that it's the same design as the other championships,
different color scheme.
different color. But my first thought was, these look old school. These look like 60s, 70s, 80s type belts, and I dug it. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Yeah. I liked the way they looked, man. I really, really did. They looked cool. I didn't like the names, calling them the SmackDown Women's and the SmackDown Tag Team, because what if the SmackDown Tag Team gets drafted to Raw next year, or what if the SmackDown?
But we don't even know if that happens. Yeah, do we? I mean, we know that.
Well, I mean, they used to do that.
I know they used to do that.
So I don't know if they're gonna, but I mean, I wouldn't want them to keep the rosters. You need to mix and match and stuff every year. So hopefully they'll do it like they used to do with the brand split. But yeah.
But you're right.
Yeah. So that was the only thing I didn't like, is that they called them the SmackDown Women's and the SmackDown Tag Team Championship, because I was just like, I mean, they could have done something, the International Women's title, the Elite Women's title, the Elite Tag Team Champ, but whatever.
They could have, but apparently nobody creative was in the building the day that they did this.
The day they did all the belts, yeah. But yeah, the biggest thing though, that it's like, that's so stupid, but then it's just like, but they look really good. They look cool.
Do.
I like the look of them. And
it makes sense if they're truly making these two brands separate. It makes sense to have something to fight for in these matches, and they do look better. Like, they do look better than the Raw championships.
Mm-hmm.
But then one of the greatest things that I think it's hilarious that happens is our old buddy Heath Slater, who New York has been crying for the last 3 days, comes out.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of his spot?
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That was great, and I love he was just like, ha 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 ha, I'm not a woman, Daniel.
I'm not a woman, Daniel.
That was funny.
That was
And
funny.
I like that they said that he can get a contract if he gets a tag team partner and they win the tag team championships. So hopefully that'll happen, because that would be cool for him to get on SmackDown by winning the tag team championships. But we'll get to
It
his
would be
tag
cool.
team.
Yeah, and he's looking through the whole episode. He's searching for a tag team partner, but we'll get to that later. And so that kind of concludes, and now we have the match between Alexa.
Hold up.
Oh, got something else?
Yeah. When Heath Slater was making his way out of the ring, AJ Styles came down the ring.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And he was, mad about Dolph Ziggler beating him up and stuff like that. I know he's like, what kind of ship are you guys running here? And then Heath Slater just stopped and like nudged, and AJ Styles was like, no, I won't be your tag team partner. Beat it! Like,
nope. He comes out like that. Yeah, that was really funny. I totally forgot about that.
I loved. I went back and watched that. Like after that happened, I went back and watched it 3 times because no, I won't be your tag team partner. Beat it! Like that was great.
And then Dolph comes out and attacks AJ.
And then
yeah, it was really really good.
It was a good spot, man. I dug it. So now we can move on. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. The Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch kind of their match, because Alexa beat her last week, and so now it's we got to make Becky look strong now, because more than likely, I'm assuming, unless they do something stupid like give Nikki the title, my assumption is Becky's probably going to be the title holder, since she was the first female picked for their draft. What did you think of the match anyway?
I thought it was good. There was 1 or 2 spots that they kind of miscued. If my memory serves me.
Yeah.
But still, it was very good. Boy, these ladies are very pretty. They're very, very good wrestlers, and I enjoyed the match a lot. Like a lot of people say, women's wrestling right now is probably the best it's been ever. Like, even though Trish Stratus and Lita were awesome, there was really nobody else besides them who were that elite. Now we have so many women who are awesome at wrestling, and that's where some of the best wrestling's taking place, is in the women's division. And this I really enjoyed this match, and Becky Lynch is my pick to win the title at Backlash, and I really hope she does, because I think she really deserves it. Natalya, she's held the
Women's,
back when it was the Divas. Several times, and so she'll have another run as champion, but
she's gonna be in it for a while.
Yeah, so. She will. She's still young. She's like in her early 30s, so it's not like her clock's ticking or anything like that.
I don't know if she's prone to injury at all either.
Yeah,
so.
No, I don't really think she is. She's really tough. So yeah, I think repay Becky for having to lose to Charlotte and all those times and stuff. But so, solid match, man.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I thought it was a good match too. You're right. There were a couple of miscues. I don't think it was supposed to be a powerbomb. I think it was just supposed to be a spin out pin.
Excuse me.
But when Alexa spun, like when they were in the corner and she got out of the, I don't know what she was doing. She got out of whatever it was, and then kind of powerbombed. Spin out corner powerbomb from
Sunset Flip.
Sunset Flip, yeah. That looked hard. That looked really, really cool.
That was cool.
Other than that, it was a textbook match outside of a couple miscues or something like that. On my notes, the next thing that was on the screen was Heath looking for a partner, part 1.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I just put all 3 of them together at the same time. But
he goes and sees the Miz.
Yeah.
And it looks like Miz is talking to him. What do you think about that?
I thought this was great. It was very funny and stuff, and I was like, oh, cool, no way. And then he takes his hood off and he has the earpiece in. That was brilliant.
Yeah, I thought so too. It's like, oh, done, Steven Spielberg. I'm gonna do a Steven Spielberg. And then Heath just walks off like.
I know.
Don't forget
That was great.
It was a
That
great
was
spot.
Miz was so funny on that, and I love how he just looked at Heath and he's just like, "Oh hey," and he points to himself and he's like, "Indiana Jones."
Yeah, Indiana Jones.
That was funny.
That was funny. And so the next match we have after that, it was a really good promo. It was the next match was the Usos versus the Ascension.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of this match?
I thought it was pretty good. Not like.
It was a tag team match.
Yeah,
It was a textbook tag team.
Yeah. It was good. You know, the Usos are always entertaining, and you know, they're one of my favorite tag teams, and they were a lot of fun. So, yeah, it was just yeah, like you said, it's kind of simple tag team, but you know, not boring though, and you know, I don't know if they'll be the first to win it. I don't know, you know, I like that they were kind of going over to the titles, just been like, yeah, kind of thing. But yeah, I liked, uh, you know, I like them.
Yeah, the in the end spot when I didn't know it happened until later, but at the end when they replayed the Usos, whichever Uso it is, flying off the turnbuckle,
Mhm.
and he does the posing in midair.
Mhm.
That was funny. I don't know if I've ever seen him do
Yeah, that was
It
cool.
really funny. So yeah, so after the Usos and the Ascension, which the Usos won
Mhm.
that match, we have the AJ Styles in-ring promo. What did you
Mhm.
think of it?
Well, my biggest thought was that I hope AJ Styles becomes a face again because I don't want the people to start booing him because he's acting like a jerk.
Yeah.
I mean, just because he's so great that, you know, just because he's such a great wrestler that I don't want people to start booing him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just because he's acting like you know, an arrogant
Yeah.
heel. So that was one of my biggest things. But he's so great at it though.
He is.
And he said on Stone Cold's podcast, which is another episode you should listen to. It's pretty cool to listen to him talk about. He goes, you know, on you have more freedom as a heel, and also it's more fun.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So, but you know, there is that. But you know, I mean, and it's AJ Styles. I don't think people would start booing him. Even like, you know, there are some mixed boo, just a little, but that's just because it's Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Or actually, no, they were somewhere else, but
they were still in. I think they were still in New York.
New York or something.
New York or New Jersey. I can't remember. I can't remember what auditorium they're in. But yeah, I thought this thing was funny. I love the whole armband gag.
Yeah, looks better on me anyway.
Yeah, that was funny. A couple of comments that I wanted to say.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were great. Don't worry, you don't have to be Cena fans anymore. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I am the face that runs this place again. He said I should be the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. And so after he says that, what happens?
Ziggler came out to the ring, and then all the security guys were trying to stop him. And you know, I was just like, "Ooh, we have a situation."
We do. And so Daniel Bryan comes out.
Yeah.
And this is like Daniel Bryan being angry, and it scared me. Like for a little bit, I was like,
he has good dad voice.
He does have good dad voice. And so when they have kids, he'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Daniel comes out and is just like, you know, hey, no, stop this. Whereas when Mick comes out, it's kind of like, oh, there's Grandpa.
Hey, Mick. Whee!
But Daniel comes out with authority and then puts AJ and Dolph in a match. And the winner of that, if AJ wins the match, then it'll just be AJ versus Dean Ambrose. But if Dolph wins, it'll be a triple threat match.
Mm-hmm.
I was really hoping that it was going to be a triple threat match, to be honest. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the match is at the very end, so we can talk about it then, or do you just want to go ahead and talk about it now?
Either way.
Okay.
We can talk about it then if you want.
All right, yeah. Just because, yeah, we'll just talk about that later. But yeah, I thought the concept was cool. That you know, AJ, you should be, and you will, but you guys are gonna have a match. If Ziggler wins, it's a triple threat. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, I loved, like you said, yeah, Daniel Bryan came out with authority, and so that was kind of cool to see him being hands-on and all that, and being involved, and excuse me. But yeah, the concept of AJ and Ziggler finally in a match really intrigued me,
It did. Intrigued me too.
and yeah, I like this kind of angry, rebellious Dolph Ziggler. I think this is very much more in line with the guy I keep comparing him to, Shawn Michaels. So, it's something old made new kind of thing.
Yep.
So yeah, I totally dig it, and yeah, it was a good spot, and couldn't wait to see the match. So then we had another match in the women's title, which was Carmella versus Nikki Bella. What were your initial takeaways?
Well, I think with the whole women's thing, I don't think the women's, because my biggest issue with SmackDown was they said one thing, but then they also said that the six-pack challenge is going to be at Backlash. That's what Shane O'Mac said. He said the six-pack challenge is going to be at Backlash, which to me seems to think that that's going to be a tournament at Backlash. This is just wrestling. This is just, the regular card type stuff. And so Carmella versus Nikki Bella, Nikki Bella comes out and is starting to get interviewed by Renee Young, and then Carmella attacks, seeming to turn her heel, which I loved. And again, before Carmella and Alexa came out started on the main roster, I thought Alexa was definitely ready. I thought Carmella needed at least another couple of months to come onto the main roster. Boy, was I dead wrong. She came out here heelish, and it worked on so many levels. I liked what happened, mostly because I don't like Nikki, but
Yeah, she used Nikki's own move against her. So,
what did you think of the whole process?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of, just because it seems like people really like Carmella, and she is very energetic. Yeah, I didn't think of her even being a heel, just because Natalya was the heel, and Natalya was attacking her for a couple weeks. But yeah, I thought it was kind of the best betrayals are the ones you don't see coming. The best heel turns are the ones you don't see. Like Seth Rollins hitting Roman Reigns in the back with the steel chair. Nobody saw that coming. That's why it was great. Stone Cold pinning The Rock, then standing up and shaking Vince McMahon's hand was great because nobody saw it coming. And I didn't see this coming.
And it could be a non-heel turn. It could have just been
like, hey,
Carmella,
we're here too.
Yeah, this is a women's championship match. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah, that could be too.
I am as strong as the other women in this league or in this division. I'm going to. It could be that, or it can't. It really did look like a heel turn.
Yeah. I hope that that it was just a storyline. I hope Nikki didn't hurt her neck at all. Like I'm sure it's just a thing.
Yeah,
but,
that was just her doing that.
But it's just like still that was neck surgery is nothing to mess with. So I hope it is completely fine. Like there's just some things where it's just like neck surgery. It's like take it easy on the neck, kind of thing. But
so after this whole thing, Carmella leaves, and then after the commercial comes back, we get the Viper addressing the crowd. What did you think? What did you think about everything that happened here in this situation?
With Randy Orton?
With the interview. Well, I guess the first was no, that was it. Yeah, what did you think about Randy Orton's comments about everything?
Well, on Raw, they asked Stephanie McMahon if there would be repercussions for Brock Lesnar, and she said, "Oh yeah, there will be." And so then that kind of leads us back here to SmackDown, and it was he dissed Lesnar again. He came out and stood on the stage and did Brock Lesnar's bouncing around thing again, and went up into the ring and was like, I bet you guys weren't expecting to see me. It's just like, I thought you'd have a couple days off because even though that it seems like that was a work, you still legitimately got opened up. So
you lost blood.
Yeah, quite a bit, I might add. And he was saying, I didn't know what to make about him saying, like, oh, I rather would have been carried out on a stretcher than have the match end the way it did. And Shane McMahon came out seemingly doing the right thing, but But who knows? Me and Brock Lesnar's paths will cross again, and then all of a sudden, Bray Wyatt came out.
Mhm.
And so, what were your thoughts about Bray Wyatt coming out and confronting Randy Orton?
I like this feud. However, I think it's too soon. My biggest criticism of WWE is they do great in the setup to storylines. They do great in the setup to matches. They do great in the matches. But what they fail on is the ending of things. For instance, this. They ended essentially the feud between Orton and Lesnar, and kind of started a feud with Lesnar and Shane O'Mac. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
It was abrupt and just poorly done. And so now they've started a feud, possible feud, it looks like, with Lesnar or with Orton and Bray. And so not that it seemed like it was out of nowhere. I'm gonna like this feud. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure this feud's gonna be great.
It was the ending. Like they just kind of wrote it off. Yeah, I got beat up by Lesnar. Our paths are gonna cross again. Wow.
Yeah.
It was. They cannot finish anything well. They can't finish anything well, and that could be said especially on Raw. Raw's stuff as well is that they start something really really good, but when it comes to ending this feud, I'm trying to remember the other stuff that I had issues with. Oh, the feud with if you are not right about Rusev attacking Roman,
Mm-hmm.
that feud's over, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
And so what they do really well with is setting everything up, hyping everything, and then doing a great product. And then when it comes to ending things, they blow it. And I think that's what SmackDown and Raw, at least from our view now. Maybe I'll be coming back next week or even after Backlash and be like, okay, I was wrong. All they did was put an ellipsis on this, saying, like Orton said, our paths are going to be crossed again. ... When is that again? Is it going to be soon, or is it going to be in 6 months from now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be in
hopefully
whatever.
at WrestleMania with Orton going over?
That would be a good time to do it. But I'm fine again with. I like Bray. I think Bray did a
Mm-hmm.
great job coming out. What they did with that whole thing was great. The timing, though, I mean, I guess they do need Orton does need a SmackDown competitor to wrestle, and so Bray is the logical, at least in this instance, logical choice for him to wrestle against.
Yeah,
So,
I think, I'm really intrigued by it too. This kind of a tad bit reminds me a little bit of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker's feud of from the late '90s. You got the rebel who is the Texas rattlesnake or the viper, and you know and
old as new.
yeah, and then you got this like creepy supernatural kind of is he human, is he not?
Well, he calls himself a god. So
yeah, so it's
there is
like
that.
he's this crazy, it's like, oh, is he just a crazy person? Does he have kind of supernatural? It kind of reminded me of that a little bit. Like I could definitely see a comparison to that,
That makes sense.
and I was like, what? I totally dig it. I'm on board with this, man. I really am. So I think it'll be cool. I think the promos will be good because, Orton is really good at being threatening and kind of venomous on the mic, and Bray is good at creeping the heck out of everybody on the mic, and just like, even though you're like, this guy is creepy, he has such a hypnotic way of talking to where you're like, I never want him to stop. The way he's just like, he's just like, how's your head, Randy?
Exactly.
Like, that was so creepy, but it was so great. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope it delivers. I hope it.
Yep. And like I said, I like what they do with Bray. I wish they would figure out how to end things. Again, they're starting something that could be really, really fun to watch. And so I hope it goes well. And so after that, we get Shane's comments
Mm-hmm.
in an interview backstage. What did you think of the interview?
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting the way he was just like, oh, Stephanie said that there would be, repercussions to Lesnar. He's like, she fined him $500. Like, I don't think either of them are taking this seriously. So I was like, interesting. The sibling rivalry between Shane and Stephanie and Raw and SmackDown is
Still
getting
there.
heated. It's still there. So, which is weird because Stephanie seems to act very angry, in character about the whole Brock Lesnar thing. So that's kind of interesting to see how this ended up going. But I'm really like, even though the ending to SummerSlam still was dumb, I'm very interested to see how all these storylines are going now from just that final match.
Yeah.
As terribly ending as it was, I'm very interested to see how all these storylines are going now.
Yeah, especially since Raw and SmackDown didn't do SummerSlam any justice. Like, they didn't do any justice. Like I said, they can't end things well. And so they're kind of just doing that thing where it's like, you're right, it's still that Raw versus SmackDown thing is still there. But do we really need a Shane versus Lesnar match?
Yeah, I don't know.
And so I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, rumors. We don't know if we're actually going to see that.
It was an ominous statement of saying this thing between Brock and myself is far from over. He pointed out Brock. I know this is all storyline, but he pointed out Brock saying the thing between Brock and I is not over. Kind of means that maybe they're gonna get some kind of a match. I don't know when. I don't know. It is a rumor.
Yeah,
but
or maybe
statements like that.
Or maybe Shane is going to sign a free agent to deal with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he should.
Goldberg.
Or Undertaker. Either way.
Yeah, or Undertaker, exactly.
Like I said, Undertaker at the end. At the end, he should go out of Survivor Series, but
that'd be a great deal. That'd be a great thing.
But yeah, it was an interesting and ominous, and it does continue the storyline and it's the only thing now with Heath possibly going to sign with. And I think that would be awesome because we'll get to that here a second. Kind of segues into the next thing actually. If Heath wins, the only thing that that connects SmackDown and Raw is a feud between Lesnar and Shane. But you're right. Maybe Shane won't wrestle and he will sign. Could be Goldberg, like you said. But we get to that the thing I was talking about. Heath Slater now goes and looks for who else? None other than one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, Arn Anderson. What did you think of this promo for this spot?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was great. The crowd loved it. I absolutely loved it, even though it had that sissy Arn Anderson. You hear me? I'm calling you out, Arn. Just a little Daniel Tosh joke, but so on Tosh.0 he has a running joke where like once or twice a season he calls out Arn Anderson. Absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I love Arn Anderson, and I thought this was funny the way he's like, I could be the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and you could be the Enforcer Arn Anderson, and then it pans over and it's actually Arn Anderson. And he's like, look, like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, you are not. But
he's like, I don't think I can do it. And he's like, well, you're my last choice, and you're like, I wasn't your first choice. That was a big mistake.
Yeah.
And so that was really, really cool to see Arn Anderson. Sad that Arn's gotten big. That's a little sad, but anytime Arn Anderson's on the screen, he does a good job. He sells things. It's really, really nice. But then, I don't know why I didn't see this coming, because it makes sense and is hilarious. Who shows up?
Rhino.
And what does Rhino say?
Rhino says you need to make payments on your above ground pool.
You think being tag team champion, you can make a payments on their above ground pool? That was awesome and hilarious, and I don't know why I didn't see. Did you see this Rhino and Heath Slater combo coming?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
What did you think of it?
It was great. I thought it was a great move, and I hope that they end up winning it.
I do too. I think it would be awesome.
I'm
not a huge fan of Rhino, but this combination, because Rhino was funny, the times that he's talked with Heath on camera, he's been funny, and so yeah, I even though I like American Alpha, and it would make sense to have the Usos kind of win it the first time. I think it'd be awesome to have
It would.
Heath and
Even
Michael.
if they, win it at Backlash, I think is where
Yeah.
it'll be the final.
Yep.
Will be the final, and even if they win it at Backlash and then lose it the next night to American Alpha or the Usos, still though, like they're the first champions, and Heath Slater gets the contract. So I think this would be a great way to end this. Just because this has been funny and it still is funny, I just don't want it to go on too long. I think this would be a great way to end it. I think it'd be fun. So.
And he does. I think he needs to be on SmackDown. I think.
Me too.
Heath and Rhino, the Heath and Rhino combo. I don't know what their name, if they're going to have a name, but their combo is good. It's funny. It's new-ish. I mean, they've done this big guy, small guy thing for as long as I can remember, and so it would be right. It would be a great time to end it, a fun time to end it, and just fun to see these two together. So we come to the last couple matches. Before Breezango and American Alpha, they had a funny promo. What did you think of the promo? Did you remember the promo?
Where they were sitting there talking, Breezango?
It's going to be a breeze, and then Fandango's like, I wonder what's... Wait, you breeze, like your last name! That was funny.
That was funny.
And then the squad goals of American Alpha was pretty cute and funny.
I liked that, their little thing. Yeah. Those guys, just their enthusiasm is just so infectious. It's just like if you're in a bad mood and then you see American Alpha, especially that promo that they did, like if you're in a bad mood, just watch that. You won't be because I was just like, I just saw that and I was like, that's awesome. Like that's great.
And they've done some in NXT. They did some pretty good stuff like that, back and forth stuff. That was pretty good. But the match between Breezango and American Alpha, what did you think of it?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You go first because I'm really. It was kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a regular tag team match. There were a couple great spots at the end. I thought at the end is where the match picked up pretty well. The only thing I didn't like about the match was the constant commentating about the Olympics. I know that that's what they're supposed to do, but Morrow, move on. The Olympics are over. Let's go. Let's stop talking about the Olympics. I know one of them was in the Olympics. I get that. Let's move on. That was my only issue. I love the supermodel kick. Tyler Breeze's supermodel kick, where he puts the guy's head basically between his legs and then kicks him. That kills me every time. It looks like it would hurt like crazy, and so I like the supermodel kick. After they did that, I thought it picked up pretty well. There was some really, really good spots. It looked like, I don't know if it was a planned, because it looked like America Alpha was going to win, and then they kind of reset, and then they did the same stuff again to go back to the American Alpha win. And so, other than that, I thought it was an okay match. I thought it was maybe better than the Usos match in ways, mostly because I like Tyler Breeze myself. I like Fandango. I know that you said you don't know what to think about it, but is there any thoughts that you have about it?
Yeah, actually, now that you bring that up, it kind of all came back. Yeah, this one probably was better than the Usos in Ascension because just this one was a bit more suspenseful. It just, Breezango got a couple near falls there, and you were like, oh no, American Alpha's going to lose. Oh, that would suck. And then, so Breezango had a couple, big moments, a couple close spots in it to make it seem more
believable.
Yeah, make it seem more believable, make it seem more suspenseful, because you can't just have, the quote unquote good guys, just win every single time, all the time in dominating fashion,
because they've done it every week essentially.
Yeah, so yeah, you need a sense of suspense, you need a suspense of danger, so to speak. So, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't, like the Usos Ascension. It was good. It just there was nothing spectacularly special about it.
And that was kind of, we can use that to touch on the fact that was both Raw and kind of SmackDown's deal. Is that there were good matches, but after one of the big four pay-per-views, both of them kind of fell flat when you look at it as a whole. It kind of just fell flat. Like I said, there were some really good matches, like a couple of the matches on Raw. SmackDown seemed like just a textbook wrestling clinic. Essentially, is what it was. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. Let's just go out there and wrestle. Keep it safe. Let's not get injured. Type stuff. So yeah, I would agree. It just seemed to be that way. So after the match, he had kind of an interview with Dean, coming from the casino.
This was amazing.
He's wearing this ginormous blue Texas hat. What did you think of the interview?
Oh my gosh. When he came on screen wearing the t-shirt for the casino and that big foam cowboy hat like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber, I thought that was hilarious. Like, just and it so fits in with his character. Like, he's just sitting there with the belt, and he that big cowboy hat, and he's just, oh hey, yeah, I was just playing up at the casino, and when I'm at the roulette table, I always bet on black or red or green. It's not really a system; it's just a feeling. Like, that was funny, and the way like the waitress came over and she's like, "Oh, here's your Red Bull and coffee. Oh, thank you, Red Bull and coffee." It's like, champ's got to be generous, so he just pours a bunch of casino chips on the tray. Like, that was funny.
It was funny when because he's like, "Oh, I just heard about the match and stuff." He's like, "Oh, I don't care if they put me with a bear and whatever." Like,
Bigfoot, no, grizzly bear.
Grizzly bear. And then they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be AJ Styles or Dolph Ziggler." And he goes, "Oh, that would make more sense." But that match would be really cool, wouldn't it?
I know. That was great, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good.
Oh, that makes more sense.
That makes more sense. It was a good, funny promo.
I liked it.
That was done well. And then when Dean comes out to the announce table, he throws the hat away, goes up to JBL and starts doing a handshake.
That was fun. And JBL's just like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah,
he's just like turning around, like, and yeah, that was funny too. That was great.
And so that leads to him sitting there for the to be a commentator, and then we have the match of the night, or the main event. Sorry, main event: Dolph Ziggler versus AJ Styles. What did you think of this whole thing?
I liked the stakes that were on. I liked the stipulation that Daniel Bryan set for the match. Yep. Really excited. Thought it was a good match. Thought it was done really well. Maybe just a tad too short for me, personally.
It was a little short.
But still, it was good. Both guys, great workers. Two of the best wrestlers out there, man. Did a great job. And then Dolph Ziggler got pinned 1, 2, 3. And so it's going to be AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose at Backlash in 2 weeks. I was hoping it would be a triple threat because I thought that would be awesome. And I thought it would have more possibilities.
I agree. It would be awesome. It would have more possibilities. It would give Ziggler more of a push. It would not end the Ziggler-Ambrose feud as abruptly as it has.
Yeah.
Again, WWE cannot finish anything for the life of them.
Hopefully it's not over. Hopefully this is just...
Yeah. And so, and even the Dolph AJ Styles thing, like, that would be a cool feud to explore, more. And of course, we have another SmackDown before Backlash, or maybe 2 before Backlash, I can't remember. 1 or 2 before Backlash. And so we'll see what happens, but as of right now, it looks like that all the feuds are kind of over. There were a couple spots, there were a couple miscues in this match that I was wondering about. But there were other spots that was just like, holy cow. When Ziggler gets nailed into the corner, like he was a couple feet away, not like 5 feet away. He was like, looked like 1 to 2 feet away, and that hurt me watching it. There was, I don't know if it was a missed clothesline over the rope, but when Ziggler was beating AJ with his forearm all over the rope, I don't know if he was waiting for him to fall over, but it looked awkward to me. There just seemed to be a disconnect at times between the two. Where it turned for me was the neck breaker through the ropes.
Yeah.
I thought Ziggler may have had a concussion because his head nailed hard on the quote-unquote hardest part of the ring. If it actually is the hardest part of the ring, his head, I was hoping he didn't have a concussion. And there were a couple good spots. It was a great drop kick by Ziggler to AJ that hurt. It looked like it hurt. He did the famouser near fall.
Mm-hmm.
The satellite DDT.
That was great.
Yeah, that was really, really cool. And then the zigzag for a near fall. That was cool. The zigzag looked good
Yeah,
for the first
I like
time
the
in a while.
zigzag.
And then Styles went for the Styles Clash. I liked when they went for it before, and he countered.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool. But then, the Styles Clash came on.
I liked the AJ Styles. He did the 450 splash from the springboard outside on the apron. Yeah, that looked like he could have broken his nose if he didn't. If he is like, man, if he could have, if his arm would have moved a little bit one way or another, he didn't get up and tap, like he would have broken his nose or, maybe even got a slight concussion or something. Like, that was awesome the way he did that. And
Yes.
just shows how athletic these guys are. And yeah, it was a pretty good way to close out.
It was a good match.
Tonight.
And
the
other thing that I want to say about Ziggles is he knows how to not hurt himself in the Styles Clash. I don't know if you paid attention.
Yeah, he bent his head back.
Bent his head way back. He used AJ's legs and just bent back. Like, Ziggler, you're a smart dude.
Mm-hmm.
They need to push you a lot stronger. You need to be in the Intercontinental Championship right now. You need to be the Intercontinental Champion. Let's push that.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end, we see AJ staring down Dean.
Yeah.
And, I'll be honest with you, I forget how short AJ is, and so when Dean is standing there, it's like, Dean is a monster over you.
It is.
What in the world?
Yeah, because Dean's 6'4" and AJ's 5'11", so
Gosh.
Yeah, that's a lot of height disparage between.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because Cena's 6'1", so AJ's 5'11". That's not much height there, but like you keep I think it's just because Dean Ambrose has a thinner build than Roman Reigns that people forget that he's taller than Roman Reigns.
Is he?
Yeah, because Roman's 6'3", and
man, I don't know why
he's 6'4".
I don't know if it's just because Roman's huge that he looks huge. I thought he was way taller than that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just kind of just like, dang, like, he looks so short just because Dean's so tall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was cool the way they were staring each other down, setting that up and whatnot. And so yeah, I think their match is going to be great.
Yeah.
Even though I love Dean Ambrose as champion and I love Dean Ambrose in general, I feel like there could be a possible AJ push coming up soon.
It seems that way.
I feel like it could. I feel like, he's had two, Dean's had two successful pay-per-view, what do you call it?
Wins?
Yeah, title defenses.
Sorry.
So, I feel like maybe like, oh yeah, we're going to push AJ for a bit, and, so I don't know. I feel like that could be happening. I'm probably wrong, but because I'm perfectly okay with Dean Ambrose keeping it for a long time.
And it's hard to say because, again, I keep going back to the fact that the rosters are so small. The roster is so small on SmackDown that there's not. I mean, the problem is going to get that they're going to have so many titles that it's going to go back and forth between one or two people. I mean, outside of the women's championship, they have at least a decent amount of depth in it. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because Orton's going to be busy with Bray Wyatt for a little bit. Who knows what Ziggler's going to do.
Yep.
Now, hopefully, he's not done with Dean and AJ. I wouldn't think so, but
I could see him being so upset that he turns heel again. Like, he's just so angry at the outcome of everything. He just goes out and kind of does the Roman Reigns thing where he's just going to beat up everybody. He's just tired of it.
That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. So, yeah, that is Raw and SmackDown from this week. I think that'll be good doing it on Wednesday, so we can do it the day after them. I think that'll be a lot better. So yeah, overall pretty decent episodes. Furthering some storylines, intriguing us with things, and yeah. So all right. So just real quick, what was the thing on Raw that you are most excited for?
Bayley.
That you saw. You were most excited.
Bayley is the most exciting thing for me. Again, as watching her in NXT and then being kind of like Charlotte said, Miss left behind. That's what she was. She was left behind by all these other people, And so finally, people have been asking for it for months now. Probably even when right around when Finn came in, people were like, "Where's Bailey?" But having to realize that they have to stagger these people, these guys that they bring up from NXT. Bailey is my pick. Anything for the Raw highlight. I think I'm more excited for her. I am excited about next week. The finding out who's actually going to be the champion instead of waiting for their pay-per-view. I think that's a good idea. I'm excited for that match. And so I guess those are my two things that I'm excited about right now. What about you?
I was going to say that too. I was going to say Bailey and then the Fatal 4-Way next week, setting that up this week for. So, yeah. What about SmackDown? What were you most excited for? What has you most intrigued about this week's SmackDown?
There's a lot of intrigue. I think SmackDown does this better than Raw. I think most of it, like, what's going to happen between Shane and Brock? What's going to happen between Bray and Orton? Like, what is going to happen? Are they going to wrestle? Or, because the way Bray talked, it was as if he was going to try to get him alongside of him. I don't know. It was really, really weird. I'm intrigued about who is going to win the titles. I think the thing I love the most about SmackDown is the Heath Slater Rhino combo. I think that might be my favorite thing about SmackDown. What was your favorite thing from SmackDown?
Yeah, exactly that. I was gonna say Orton and Bray. The potential for that feud is definitely my number 2. But yeah, Slater and Rhino is probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that's gonna do it for episode 8, the WWPWW. Yep, it is the Worldwide Wrestling Podcast of Worldwide Wrestling, just in case you didn't know.
Oh, you didn't know?
Good call. You better call somebody. Yeah, next week we'll be back on Wednesday for another Raw and SmackDown recap, most likely.
Yep.
And then, our top 10 favorite matches of all time are still forthcoming. Can't wait to do that. And coming up also, I will have the very first edition of Caleb's Sports Corner, which is me just talking about, by myself, just talk about the biggest news in sports right now and stuff like that. So that'll be kind of cool, just to do something a little different every so often if I'm bored.
But this is a wrestling podcast. How dare you do anything else but wrestling? No, I think it'd be good.
This is a different podcast.
Yeah. Oh, it's a different podcast? It's not going to be on this channel?
It's going to be on this channel. It's just different...
But this is a wrestling channel! I'm just playing, man. It'll be cool. I can't wait to listen to what you have about the world of sports, the world of worldwide sports, or whatever.
The world of worldwide sports. There's a good name. Yeah. So yeah, another good episode, I feel, and a lot of stuff went down, so this one was a little longer. But thanks for stopping by. This is Caleb.
This is Jeremy.
Signing off.
Peace.